This is a geopolitical seismic event, the tremors of which are radiating from the grey waters north of Scotland to the corridors of power in Washington, Brussels, and London. A maritime corridor that has haunted NATO planners for decades is now being systematically sealed with steel hulls, seabed sensor arrays, and unprecedented political integration between the United Kingdom and Norway. For Moscow, this is not merely a tactical adjustment, it is a declarative strategic message. We see you, and we are postured to respond. The pressing question remains, is this a localized crisis in the North Atlantic, or the harbinger of a wholesale reconstruction of the European security architecture from the seabed up? For years, Vladimir Putin's ocean policy has predicated its success on a fatal Western vulnerability, the GUK gap, the maritime choke point between Greenland, Iceland, and the United Kingdom. By slipping through this fissure, Russian nuclear submarines, equipped with Zircon hypersonic missiles and Bulava intercontinental ballistic missiles, have maintained a second strike capability, targeting Western capitals from Washington to Berlin, often operating undetected. Beyond nuclear deterrence, these platforms possess the asymmetric capability to conduct seabed warfare, severing fiber optic cables and energy pipelines, effectively blinding the West in a crisis. For Washington and European capitals, this scenario represents the ultimate strategic nightmare, an adversary capable of simultaneously holding cities hostage with nuclear fire and strangling the digital and energy lifelines of the continent from the ocean floor. For Asian allies like Tokyo or Seoul, this raises a parallel concern. How can an alliance system dependent on transoceanic data and energy flows withstand a strategy of grey zone warfare beneath the surface? Today, however, that strategic artery is being severed. The UK and Norway have ratified the Lunar House Naval Agreement, the most comprehensive and offensive maritime cooperation pact in their shared history. On parchment, it is a treaty. In practice, it is a strategy of maritime containment, designed to bottle up Russia's northern fleet within the icy confines of the Kola Peninsula and deny it access to the Atlantic. This is a multi-domain blockade. Beneath the waves lies a network of AI-enabled acoustic sensors. In the air, P-8 Poseidon maritime patrol aircraft maintain persistent surveillance, and on the surface, next-generation Type 26 frigates patrol the choke points. The North Sea, once a contested domain, is being transformed into a panopticon, where every Russian maneuver is catalogued. Why has NATO chosen this moment to act? The catalyst lies not in diplomatic demarches, but in a grim escalation off the coast of Scotland that overturned the established rules of engagement. London and Oslo accelerated this alliance because Moscow crossed the threshold, separating intelligence gathering from direct kinetic threat. Last month, the Yantar, ostensibly an oceanographic research vessel, but in reality a mothership for the secretive Main Directorate of Deep Sea Research, shadowed British assets in international waters, specialised in mapping critical undersea infrastructure. The Yantar this time escalated its behaviour. It is alleged that the vessel directed a military-grade laser at the cockpit of a Royal Air Force P-8 Poseidon crew, an attempt to blind the pilots and endanger the aircraft. This was not mere provocation, it was a physical interdiction attempt against a NATO asset in international airspace, serving as vivid proof of the escalatory nature of Russia's grey zone tactics. Ironically, this act of aggression exposed a weakness. It was the lashing out of a cornered cat, a reaction from a fleet that realizes it can no longer evade Western surveillance. The British response was swift. In mid-November, UK Defence Secretary John Healey delivered a cold, concise message: "We see you, and we are ready to respond." This marked the end of diplomatic condemnation and the dawn of proactive deterrence. Weeks prior, the West had already signalled this shift. On October 2, French naval special forces interdicted and seized the tanker Boracay, a vessel linked to Russia's Shadow Fleet and suspected of facilitating the drone attack on Copenhagen Airport. These actions confirm that NATO has decoded Moscow's hybrid playbook and transitioned to preemptive enforcement. The Lunar House Alliance is the institutionalization of this new posture. Yet, the threat facing Britain and Norway extends beyond research ships equipped with dazzlers. Beneath the surface lurks a silent, deadly leviathan. The primary objective of this alliance is to counter the silent assassins of the deep, a modernized submarine fleet that has absorbed a significant percentage of Russia's defense expenditure over the last 2 decades. The epicenter of this threat is the Kola Peninsula. From bases in Gadjievo, Olenia, and Severomorsk, Russia deploys its Yasen M-class nuclear attack submarines. Their most formidable characteristic is their acoustic stealth. Their low noise signature makes them elusive, even to advanced US Navy sonar, reaching near parity with Western technology. Their mission profile is clear: penetrate the Atlantic and hold NATO targets at risk with Caliber and Zircon cruise missiles. Complementing them is the Gugi fleet, deploying massive motherships like the Belgorod and deep-diving mini-subs designed to sabotage undersea cables. This is the Leviathan that Lunar House must confront. Once these platforms breach the GI-UK line and vanish into the deep Atlantic, tracking them becomes an exercise in futility. Consequently, the strategy has shifted from open ocean hunting to forward interception, neutralizing the threat at the gateway, or even as it exits the harbour. Such a task demands more than routine patrols. It requires a steel wall, the Lunar House Agreement, signed by Prime Ministers Keir Starmer and Jonas Gahr Støre, effectively integrates the two navies into a unified operational structure. The name itself is historical resonance. During World War II, Lunar House was the command hub for the Norwegian resistance in the Shetland Islands. The message is identical: joint defence against a common menace in the North Sea. Operational boundaries have been effectively erased. The backbone of this joint fleet will be the British-built Type 26 City-class frigates. Norway is procuring 5 of these vessels to modernise its navy, creating a force of at least 13 advanced anti-submarine warfare combatants, forming a continuous barrier from the Barents Sea to Iceland. The Type 26 is a purpose-built submarine hunter. Its acoustically optimized hull and electric propulsion minimize its own noise signature, while the Before Anyone Else systems Artisan 3D radar and Thales Type 2087 towed array sonar provide unmatched detection capabilities. Simultaneously, Royal Marines are intensifying cold weather warfare training in Norway to secure the northern flank on land. However, warships are merely the hammer. The true revolution, the element that strips Russian submarines of their stealth advantage, lies in the Atlantic Bastion program. If the Type 26 is the muscle, Atlantic Bastion is the neural network. The UK has unveiled this doctrine to signal that Russia's multi-billion-dollar submarine investments are being rendered obsolete. The objective: to render the ocean transparent, leaving Russian platforms nowhere to hide. The cornerstone of this system is the SG-1 Fathom. This autonomous underwater glider functions as a winged torpedo without an engine, gliding on ocean currents for months. It leaves no acoustic footprint but listens intently. On one side are billion-dollar nuclear submarines, on the other, swarms of inexpensive sensors hidden in the thermal layers. When an anomaly is detected, coordinates are uplinked via satellite. Furthermore, under the Seabed Sentinels concept, the UK is deploying the Excalibur, a 19-ton, 12-metre UUV. These autonomous guardians patrol critical infrastructure 24/7. When Gugi units attempt to tamper with a cable, they will encounter not a manned vessel, but a robotic defence line. The operational kill chain is clearly defined. As a Russian submarine dives beneath the Barents ice, seabed sensors or Fathom gliders detect the acoustic anomaly. AI algorithms filter this data from the ambient noise of the ocean and transmit a contact unknown alert. Within seconds, this data reaches the command center at RAF Lossiemouth. P-8 Poseidons are scrambled to sanitize the area with sonobuoys. Once localized, a Type 26 frigate closes in, utilizing silent running and active sonar to achieve a firing solution. Coastal defense missiles in Norway and Stingray torpedoes are placed on standby. At this juncture, the Russian submarine loses its primary advantage: surprise. A revealed submarine is a strategic liability. This northern wall aims to deter infiltration before it begins. The question for observers is, who pays the price for this security? Is it the Russian military budget, the Western taxpayer, or global energy markets living under the shadow of escalation? What are the ramifications of this techno-military encirclement? It is a fundamental rebuilding of European security. Having secured the Baltic Sea, NATO is now transforming the North Sea from an open common into a fortified bastion. For Moscow, the neutralization of the ocean policy is a severe strategic defeat. Russia's hybrid warfare doctrine relies on the leverage of energy, blackmail, and infrastructure disruption. With the GUK gap closed, that card is removed from the Kremlin's deck. Undersea infrastructure worth £350 billion, carrying 30% of Europe's energy between the UK and Norway, now sits behind the Atlantic bastion. Putin's ability to weaponize energy flows is significantly degraded by this digital subsurface wall. The era of the grey zone, where Putin tested Western resolve with impunity, has collided with a new reality. Unified European resolve backed by technological supremacy. Ultimately, for families in the US, Europe, or Asia, terms like GUK gap translate directly to energy bills and economic stability. In a world where superpowers play 3D chess beneath the waves, is this new wall a necessary insurance policy, or the next rung on the ladder of escalation? Share your perspective in the comments below.